checked, I still had a pulse, which is always a good sign.
All right. So is this a good time to chat?
Suppose. What do you want to chat about?
Your book.
Oh, that. Sure. Chat away.
Okay, cool. I'm going to rotate so I can transcribe accurately. First, what are your thoughts on Sam Zell?
I'm sorry, what is my...
What are your thoughts on Sam Zell taking over the train?
Oh, yeah, right. Sam Zell. Of course, right. Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, but my knee-jerk reaction when I first heard the news was, you know, here's another Chicago carpetbagger. And, do we really need that? I mean, you know, the Tribune Company came in like gangbusters, installed a couple of people who did a really stellar job under the circumstances in terms of encouraging the staff and winning a whole stack of Pulitzers. And then, you know, the profit motive took over, which is what they were really all about in the beginning. And it was adios John Carroll and adios Perner, and we had a repeat of the same mindset that the Chandlers had in the 90s, which was a march towards disaster. No one since Otis Chandler has understood what a newspaper is all about. At least no one who's sat in the publisher's suite. Well, I take that back, Tom Johnson too, but he was basically Chandler's prodigy, or not prodigy, but protege. And I don't know. I mean, I think Sam Zell is going to be more of the same. We have another round of cuts. The prevailing notion is you get rid of the expensive, quote, deadwood, end quote, i.e. the people who have been around for 20 and 30 and 40 years who are dinosaurs and fossils, but have institutional memory and know what's correct and what's not correct and what's worth covering and what's not worth covering. And you replace those people, those seasoned professionals, with hungry kids who are fresh out of journalism school and want to make their nut. And, you know, a grand old institution like the Los Angeles Times becomes as dependable as the penny saver.
If you were appointed the publisher and editor of the Los Angeles Times, and with the task of, among other things, you need to maintain at least an industry average level of profit, how would you change things up?
Well, first of all, that would never happen. I mean, I know it's a hypothetical, but you said it yourself, you know, the one caveat being that you would have to maintain an industry level of profitability. The reason I got into the profession of journalism in the first place was that it was the one place where it struck me that an individual could have an impact on the culture as a whole. You know, one of the last places where rugged individualism still meant something in terms of earning your daily bread. And that's all been washed away by corporate journalism. There are precious few rugged individualists. Everything's done by committee and focus group. And I don't know that I'd be successful. I'm an old dog. I don't learn new tricks very well, and I would, the first time a really great story came along, or a terrific expose that would upset the apple cart and send the mighty to jail where they belong, I would probably say to hell with the profit margins and send people out in the streets to gather information. And, and therefore would not have much in the way of longevity as a publisher. Next question.
I'm just thinking about what you said. So why did you write the Jack Nicholson book? Which I love, by the way. It's a great read.
Very kind of you. Well, the simple answer is this, because somebody asked me to. And by that, I mean I pitched a book several years ago on Edgar Bronfman Jr. and the collapse of the Bronfman clan. I thought that struck me as terribly instructive and a great morality tale for our greedy times. How, as Sam Bronfman once said way back in the 1930s, that a dynasty usually goes from shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. And in fact, that caption was posted under Grandpa Sam's portrait, which was posted over Edgar Jr.'s desk at Bronfman headquarters in New York. And of course, Edgar fulfilled that notion almost to a T. I mean, he took the Seagram's empire from that Sam built from nothing right back down to nothing. So I thought, well, that's kind of a cool morality tale for our times. So I pitched it all over New York, and there was scant interest, except for John Wiley and Sons. And even they passed on it, but the editor that wanted to do the book came back to me and asked if I'd be interested in doing something else for them, and I said, well, I don't know, what do you got? So he gave me 3 or 4 ideas, none of which I cared for very much, including Jack Nicholson. They wanted a biography of Jack Nicholson. And I said, well, I don't know, I don't do star biographies. I find them, for the most part, to be tedious, self-serving, and generally, deceitful human beings. I don't know that they contribute much to the world, and I'm not all that interested in perpetuating their myths. And he said, well, we want to do it a little different. I mean, and you seem like exactly the right person to do it. It's less a biography of Nicholson than it is a look at the industry, the craft and the business of movie making, using his career as the vehicle for telling that story, because he has rolled with the punches for almost half a century and always come out smelling like a rose in terms of his movie making. And I said, now that's kind of an interesting idea, because in a way that's the second chapter of the story that I started to tell with The Last Buffalo.